Hey, this is the Fight Nerd. Today we're going to have a history lesson on the first official American mixed martial arts match, that being Judo Gene Lebell versus Milo Savage. For those who don't know, Gene Lebell was a national judo champion who went on to become a feared grappler that taught his submission techniques to guys you might have heard of, like Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and Roddy Piper, just to name a few. Gene has also been in about 300 movies and TV shows, ranging from big-budget picks like Rocky and Spider-Man 2 and Raging Bull.
Ladies and gentlemen, under the rules of the Ohio Boxing Commission, after 10 rounds, the winner by unanimous decision, Jimmy Ray.
To some lesser-known B-movies like this one called Bad Guys, where he gets to beat up some noobs.
See the hair? The hair was made for grabbing.
But he made most of his fame by getting beaten up by other people, like this scene with Roddy Piper and Burt Reynolds in Hard Times. He has a reputation for being one of the toughest men in martial arts, and rightfully so. Gene even choked out Steven Seagal, but that's going to be a story for another day. He's so tough that even Bas Rutten trembles before his sight. He's so tough, he can get away with wearing a pink gi, but I personally see no problem with that, do you? His list of credentials is enormous and has spanned decades, and I'm going to have to make another vid one day just about Gene, but let's focus here some more. Lebell refereed the Muhammad Ali vs. Antonio Inoki match in June 1976, which is one of the earliest MMA matches in America. But in reality, Gene was part of the very first sanctioned mixed martial arts match in the States, and to many people, saved the martial arts from becoming a joke. After World War II, many Japanese martial arts became more prominent in America, as GIs returned home and began instructing in the art forms they had picked up overseas in the Pacific. However, martial arts were not received as well as they are today. It wasn't until Bruce Lee began having his movies shown in America that martial arts were looked at in a better light. In August 1963, Jim Beck wrote an article for Rogue magazine called The Judo Bums, and discussed the age-old question of who would win, a boxer or a judo player. Beck went so far as to say, "Judo is a complete fraud. Every judo man I've ever met was a braggart and a show-off. Any boxer can beat a judo man." Beck also claimed to have beaten a judo man on his own, using boxing, of course. The conclusion of the article proposed a match between a judoka and a boxer, and offered $1,000 to the winner, writing, "Judo bums, hear me one and all. It's one thing to fracture pine boards, bricks, and assorted inanimate objects, but quite another to climb into a ring with a trained and less cooperative target. My money is ready. Where are the takers?" Founder of Kempo Karate, Ed Parker, brought the article to the attention of Gene Lebell, who leaped at the occasion, mainly to make $1,000. So the fight was set to take place in Salt Lake City, Utah, and upon arriving, Gene was shocked to discover that the author of the article was not the boxer he would face, but rather Milo Savage, who was at one point the number 5 ranked light heavyweight boxer in the world, who had a record of 46 wins at the time, 22 by knockout. To be fair, Savage began his career in 1945 as a middleweight boxer, so he wasn't exactly a young, spry guy. Either way, the pair met in December 1963. The rules for the contest were that there must be a finish, so unlimited rounds. This was mainly because most people thought that Savage would finish Gene Lebell with one punch. Both fighters would wear gi tops. However, Milo in fact wore a karate gi, which is smoother than the judo gi and harder to grab, and was also allegedly rubbed with Vaseline. Gene was also not allowed to use kicks or karate chops, but could punch, and Milo was allowed to wear boxing gloves, but at the time of the fight, Milo actually wore fingerless leather gloves with brass knuckles underneath. If you don't believe that, you can watch the fight and see Gene's black belt get torn apart when Milo began punching his midsection. Gene also suspected that Milo did in fact learn a bit of judo, as he was able to fend off most of Gene's throw attempts in the beginning. The finish came in the 4th round when Gene hit a Hiraigoshi, in English sweeping hip throw, using Milo's momentum off the ropes, and worked from the mount into the finishing sleeper as Milo gave up his back. Savage, unaware of how to tap out, was choked out cold. Afterwards, Gene accidentally stepped on Milo's unconscious body, which enraged the crowd, who in 1960s had no idea what a submission was, or why Milo was on the floor to begin with. Did Judo Gene just kill Milo Savage? This is where the fans began to riot and throw chairs and garbage into the ring. Poor Milo was supposedly out for about 20 minutes until Gene's manager applied resuscitation techniques to wake him up, but even then he continued to fade in and out. It should also be noted that Milo retired from professional fighting after this match, but again, considering he was born in 1926 and this match was 1963, Savage was past his prime by most standards for fighting. Gene always says he gets his jollies two ways, riding motorcycles and choking people out. On that night, Gene had saved face for martial arts, and choking out Savage was the icing on the cake. This was the first officially sanctioned mixed martial arts match in American history. In fact, SureDog.com actually lists it in their Fight Finder, verifying its authenticity. If you want to read more about Gene, or buy the DVD of this entire match, you can head to GeneLebell.com. I own several of Gene's books, my favorite being the Encyclopedia of Finishing Holds. But if you want to learn more about martial arts and the golden age of combat sports and all the other awesome stories Gene has from fighting and Hollywood, pick up his autobiography, The Godfather of Grappling. And if you ever meet Gene, make sure he chokes you out. You get a patch if you do. I met Gene back in 2007, but sadly I did not go out cold since I was working a booth at an MMA expo that day, and had to kind of be awake for that. I hope one day, though, I do get to be choked out cold by him, as weird as that may sound. And for anyone else interested in doing so, make sure you go to the bathroom before being choked out.
Now I'm going to start putting it on and wait till he's unconscious. Okay?
Sensei, can I get you a cup of water?
Now, the main thing is don't urinate or pee-pee in your pants. Yeah, you know, as long as you don't have an accident.
So, that's the story of the first officially sanctioned mixed martial arts match in America, and just one of the many reasons that Gene Lebell is the toughest man alive. If you ever have a chance to meet him, don't miss that opportunity, and definitely do check out his books and instructional tapes. You will not regret it. Just looking at his grappling books and instructionals will teach you how to stretch a man in hundreds, if not thousands, of ways. Plus, don't forget the dirty tricks, aka the dark side of the moon, as Gene likes to call it. And if you still don't think Gene is the toughest man alive, he also wrestles bears for fun. I'm the Fight Nerd. Thanks for watching. This video is sponsored by Hoodlum Fight Gear. Check out their gear and apparel at hoodlumfightgear.com.
Yeah!